So, LaVar Arrington, we have some good news for you here as we embark on segment 2 of the show here.
What you got?
Jerry Jones and Ezekiel Elliott, the relationship that will not end,
has come to an end.
Well, because apparently Jerry Jones is not ruling out bringing Ezekiel Elliott back. He has said they would be open to it. The potential of Zeke being a Dallas Cowboy again is a real thing. Obviously, he would take significantly less than he was making, which is part of the reason why they cut him to begin with. They gave the franchise tag to Tony Pollard, which is a little over $10 million.
Hey, nobody came a running after for him, huh?
Yeah, and so there was some thought that maybe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers could be a landing spot. Their running back coach at the time said, Zeke needs to understand that with the price tag and what he's going to play for is a lot different than what he was making in the past. There was also some speculation that maybe the Philadelphia Eagles could be a landing spot. That was a couple of months ago. But here we are. It's already June. Zeke is still on the open market, and Jerry Jones is saying that they would be open to bringing him back if Zeke would like to come back and be a Dallas Cowboy for significantly less than what he made last year. So
it's probably the most sensible situation for him, just knowing where he's at in his career.
Agreed.
There probably could be a better opportunity, a better option for him out there with a different team. I really am convinced, and I know I kind of sound like kind of a detractor of Dallas, and maybe there is a little bit of some cynical type of feels towards it, or just not purely an analyst and saying some of the things I say, but I don't feel like I'm disingenuous when I talk about Dallas. I don't feel like at this point, being as retired as long as I've been, the things that I say are based off of me not liking Dallas personally. I just don't think they are currently built to be able to be competitive for a Super Bowl. I just don't. I think we've seen what their ultimate potential level is. I think we've seen what Dak's ultimate potential level can be. And I think this team can only go so far. Their defense can only do so much. And under Dak's quarterbacking position, him at the position, I think they can only go so far. And so if I'm Ezekiel Elliott, if I'm not embracing or harboring the personal feelings of just being with, I think him and Dak are really, really close friends from watching 24/7 or whatever. But just the relationships, if it's relationally driven, then it's a great decision. It's a great move. If it's professionally driven, it's a great move because he's in some regards, he's a historical, he's a legendary player for that franchise. I mean, he was one of the best running backs in the league earlier on. I mean, some would debate, maybe Todd Gurley, but for what it's worth, Ezekiel Elliott made a strong case that he was the best running back in the National Football League early on. So, listen, can he go somewhere else where he has a better opportunity of winning? Even if it's a lesser role, he's going to have a lesser role wherever he's at, including Dallas. So I think you make the decision based off of the factors that I just listed, and you made your money. So if you just feel okay with being a part of the team, doing your thing, then go back to Dallas. If you're thinking that you want to get a Super Bowl and you may want to play with a team that is more competitive, you're going to have a limited role anyway, so just be okay and be prepared to take lesser money and have a lesser role and embrace that role on your way to getting a Super Bowl.
It's wild to think he's only 27. Just to think about where he was at in the league because he wasn't one of those guys that came in and it took a year or two for him to find his groove. He came in and was off and running right away. Like that first year when him and Dak were rookies, and if you go back and you look at it, and the idea that in that moment that was their best chance to get to a Super Bowl, when they lost to Green Bay, when they had the bye and then hosted Green Bay in the playoff game, when Dak and Zeke were rookies, they were favored in that game. They were second in the Super Bowl odds at that moment in the playoffs next to the New England Patriots, and then to see what ended up happening in that game, Aaron Rodgers with some incredible throws, Mason Crosby with a couple of 50-yard field goals. Our friends in Green Bay, I know, remember that game fondly. Just to see how they lost that game and were never that close again. And that was their rookie year. And Jerry Jones probably thought to himself, hey, we lost. It's heartbreaking, but at least we've got the guys that are going to be foundational pieces for the organization, and they're going to get us to this point again. And here we are. Zeke's 27. He's no longer a Cowboy. And we're talking about, there's no chance for them. Now, I happen to believe that Dallas has a chance just based on the NFC. I think they're a live dog when it comes to the NFC East if Philadelphia takes any sort of a step back whatsoever.
No way.
But to think when Zeke...
They got better.
Yeah.
The Eagles got better this offseason. They didn't just play better this year. They got better this offseason. You could assume that the Eagles are going to be a step above what they've been even in years past, last year in particular. I would not assume any type of going backwards with the Eagles anytime soon. Not with this current personnel group.
Let me ask you this. Do you think Zeke is in FU mode to the Dallas Cowboys right now?
I don't know that he's in a position to be in FU mode.
That's why I bring up the question. I mean, he did get paid. It's not like they jerked him around and he got to hang out in Cabo and he was never the same player once he finally got paid. What's that place called? Mango? What's that place in Cabo called?
Mango Deck.
Yeah, Mango Deck. Have fun with that name. But you see,
have fun with that place.
Yeah, with that. I've Googled
more
it.
More importantly,
yeah. Hoping to go next week. But the point is, you see...
I ain't never coming back.
He got paid. It's not like he had a contentious relationship with him even towards the end. I mean, they've been nothing but positive feedback about Zeke and his time there and everything that came along with it. But I just wonder if he looks at this and says, oh, really? Screw you. Of all the places, I'm definitely not going there. I'd rather go play in Philly or the Giants or the Commanders and make sure I get to see you guys twice a year. I just wonder what his mindset is going into this offseason.
I don't know the personal makings of how they came to the table with Zeke when they let him go. He had to have been knowing the handwriting was on the wall. Tony Pollard has been the more productive running back. Tony Pollard has been the bigger play running back. Tony Pollard has been the number one running back, should have been the number one running back if he wasn't considered that for multiple seasons now. And so you had to know that was coming. I just don't feel like you should have hard feelings when you clearly weren't even the best player on your team at the point in time that they let you go. Like, you weren't the best running back. You weren't the best person at your position on the team. And that's not throwing shade.
That's the truth.
It's just the truth.
And it's been like that for a couple of years.
And so you got to accept that reality that this guy, I got my money. Thank God I got my money before Tony Pollard came in here messing up what I got going on. But you had to have known that you weren't worth the check that you were getting once Tony Pollard came in and became that person for the team. So I can't see how the feelings would be so hard. They let you go even after letting the offensive coordinator that was making the play call. So even if you wanted to relate it to, Kellen Moore might have not have been my guy. We might have not have been on the same page. So now with Mike McCarthy calling the plays, maybe I should be in a better position. No, they still let you go.
Yeah.
They still released you. So if I'm Ezekiel Elliott, I'm thinking to myself, I fit nicely into the different packages. What does that look like now with Mike McCarthy calling the plays? Do I have a few more opportunities? I mean, he had great opportunities in short yardage downs, different reserve duties, and he seemed to do well in those situations. I would not think that he would be closed off to that being the best opportunity after seeing what's out there on the market. And if it doesn't if it's not a team or if it's not a contract that would say this is a no-brainer, this is where I'm going, this is what I'm going to do, why wouldn't you return back to Dallas?
And also, I mean, from, on the flip side, the storyline to this, if he did decide, I want to go play for somebody else in the division, seeing the Dallas Cowboys twice. I know Chad Pennington did that. He went and played for the Dolphins after he played all those years with the Jets. Chad Pennington.
I think it's because they have natural grass in Miami. I don't think they have natural grass in Dallas. Do they?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think it's turf.